Hey everybody, how's it going? I have been talking lately a lot about how valuable Iden is, mainly due to her versatility in the game. So that gave me the idea for this video. I'm going to be talking about characters that are the most valuable due to their versatility, starting with Iden. For one, she's got a pretty awesome team in the ground game, just the normal base game, but also her ship is insane. So let's take a look at it for a second. It has, it's crazy stats already, like lots of health, 216 speed for a ship, is very fast, great damage, triple hit on the basic, dodging constantly, and then giving 60% turn meter to an Empire capital ship. This single-handedly has made my life tolerable for the past few months after Leviathan got buffed, because I can actually beat it without a superior Leviathan fleet. She is kind of versatile. She could go in another Imperial Trooper team, not even her own lead. So her kit is all focused around non-leader Imperial Troopers that aren't droids. But if you slot her in with a Veer's Imperial Trooper team, people, not me, because I don't feel like going through all this to remod, you can beat Lord Vader with that normal Imperial Trooper team because she can cleanse off all Imperial Trooper allies. But she's kind of like Night Sister Zombie. She's always going to come back on her turn. Or if she goes down and she has other allies alive, she's going to come back. So very zombie-like in that regard. Great damage, a triple hit on the basic too. I just love this character. I think especially new players should not neglect her. Definitely not neglect her ship. So that's the first one, Iden. Next up, we got General Kenobi, the Negotiator himself, and that is his nickname along with his capital ship. And he is one of the most versatile characters, not just because of his capital ship, but his kit fits so well into any team. So for the longest time, when you have a marquee character and they have squad recommendations, for the longest time they put General Kenobi in every team because they would need a tank, and it's like, okay, just use General Kenobi. But a lot of his abilities are just they're not even alignment related necessarily. Dispel all debuffs from all allies and grant them offset buffs. Not Galactic Republic, not Jedi, not even light side. All allies, so it can cleanse from everybody. And he calls all buffed allies to assist with this. It's not all Jedi allies, it's not light side, all buffed. And same thing with Foresight here. Now, for the most part, you're going to want to run him only with light side. You're going to want to run him with a Padme team or a Jedi Master Kenobi team. But he makes those teams so great. Ceresu, he's constantly taunting on a Galactic Republic team, so taunts for one team for one turn. If any Galactic Republic ally loses their protection up, and he has just amazing stats. I have mine at R9, so this is like way higher than maybe your average. But you don't need speed on him. Super versatile, gonna keep any team alive for a long time, especially Galactic Republic. And the Negotiator has new life breathed into it. It's way better now that we have the Marauder in the game, even though they tried to design it for Mace Windu's ship. This is one of the most annoying fleets to tackle while you're on offense going against it on defense. Because just so many of the things. Valor is kind of a broken ability, 50% turn meter through the allied capital ship. Ultimate abilities, cooldowns reduced by 1. AoE days mass assist. I think this is one of the most broken abilities on a ship. It's ultimate, I prefer that over even its ultimate. It's like a turn 1 ultimate to me. It's just that good. And preventing characters from dying ever. Just such an amazing character. I don't think anyone should be neglecting this guy. Next up, we got Han Solo, and you could consider him and Chewie a package deal for the most part. But I picked Han Solo, even though they fit in a lot of the same categories, the rebels, scoundrels, smugglers, because of his shoot first ability. You can really slot him in anywhere. He's someone where if you really need to get a stun right at the beginning, people will slot him in on a team where you wouldn't think he'd belong. So he's super flexible in that regard. He doesn't care what team he's on. He's going to shoot first, stun them, and he's going to cycle through his own turns without much help. He doesn't need that much of a leadership to be an engine of mass destruction on his own. And not to mention the Millennium Falcon. And this is not just a ship pilot video, don't worry. But the Millennium Falcon is pound for pound one of the top 3 ships in the game, behind Houndstooth and TIE Defender, in my opinion. Dodges like crazy, assists like crazy, cleanses people. It turned the Home 1 capital ship into the best capital ship in the game for a long time before Negotiator came out. Still super important to this day. People used to just throw it on fleets it didn't belong in. It'd come in reinforcements. at least in Fleet Arena. But yeah, Han Solo, amazing, super great damage, super great plug and play viability if you do need him. So yeah, definitely makes the list. Next up, and these are in no particular order, we got Commander Ahsoka Tano. And I wouldn't accuse anyone of neglecting her except one of the recent roster review I had. Someone had her fully unlocked, Gear 9, just sitting there. But some players might want her and they just can't get her because Conquest Proving Grounds is a nightmare. But she's extremely valuable and versatile. I think everyone knows this. For one, her versatility is in large part due to her tags. So Galactic Republic is a massive faction. Scoundrels is the biggest faction in the game, and unaligned Force users are a faction that is big and growing, and I could only see more coming in the future, and it's super strong. And the biggest thing that makes her flexible, in my opinion, is this stat sharing. So she gets 50% crit damage and offense, and as long as there's another light side UFU, Galactic Republic, or Scoundrel, she also gets 50% health and defense, and then shares all the stat bonuses to all our light side allies. That stat gain is one of the best, most broken stat gains out of any uniques, any leadership. It is crazy. Yes, we focus on her insta-kill, but to me, the stat boosts are what make her super special. The only thing she's missing really is a ship. Like, she is just one of the best characters in the game. Super awesome. I love Commander Tano. Next up, we got Jedi Knight Revan, and I talk about this guy all the time. He's one of my favorite characters. One of my most memorable times in this game was when I unlocked him. He allowed me to get to #1 in Arena. That was 7 months after starting a free-play account. And, I mean, his versatility, he is more limited to just Jedi. I mean, yes, you could throw him on an Old Republic team, but what he can do is what I think is most versatile. And I've talked about it a lot recently, but direct focus, super valuable. No one else can do this. He can just pick an enemy and say, okay, for the next 2 turns, everyone's going to be able to attack this guy. I don't care if you try to stealth. You have buff immunity. Marked is stuck on him. I'm even going to stun him, call all Jedi allies to assist. That's extremely valuable. This is, like, without him, Jedi Master Luke would not have worked for me against Leia all 5v5 season. The savior mechanic, bringing people back, like, just really versatile within the Jedi faction. So not as versatile like cross factions like Cat, where it doesn't have a ship like some of the others I mentioned. But to me, he's still super versatile because of like his turn meter swap, savior mechanic, and direct focus. Next up, we got Starkiller, and in some ways he is not very versatile, but he is exceedingly versatile in how he can structure a team. No one else can really do this. He takes in a light side UFU, dark side UFU, Jedi, and Sith, and makes them a team. Those are very populous factions, all of them. So the amount of the combination of teams you can have is practically endless. It gives great bonuses to them, even outside of Grand Arena. For example, I get value of him in Conquest right now because we have a riposte ability. I put him under a Seer Jundali, Jedi Cal, Count Dooku, Terran Malicos, and then Starkiller. Those are the 3 characters that give riposte. They all fit into a Starkiller team. It makes it able to 3-star a lot of nodes, get it done, and that's not a Grand Arena. So super valuable, just really fun and flexible. I mean, flexible is probably a better word for him, but awesome in Grand Arena. I mean, everyone knows this guy. His team, like, people use the same team for him all the time, including me. Like, I just do Emperor Palpatine, Mara Jade, because they do fit so well. But the possibilities are endless, and he's someone that I think is just waiting for a new breakout theory crafting comp. But I don't know if I'd be the one to do it. Next up, we got Admiral Piet, and his value and versatility is pretty obvious. I mean, one, he's a fleet commander for probably the #3 fleet in the game, the Executor, and one of my most recommended early game big farming goal targets. Not after you've built up a lot of good teams, though. And he makes the Imperial Trooper team tick. His Emperor's Trap is what makes them work. But Emperor's Trap does not just apply to Imperial Troopers. It's Empire allies. So you can use him early game with Emperor Palpatine and Darth Vader. Darth Vader really starts ramping up a lot. You can put him on a Lord Vader team, and that's going to help. He's going to be able to mark Lord Vader to make him a tank. Which he is not. He's an attacker, but he can take a lot of punishment. So much of his versatility is there. But mainly for him, the versatility is in the fleets and the fact that he goes from Imperial Troopers to Empire. Not a huge amount of flexibility, but I still think he is super valuable because of all that. Now we got Malik, and I talked about him a lot in a video recently about unique characters that changed the game. And he doesn't have a ship or anything, but his versatility is parallel with what makes him a solo monster. So he is a force of nature unto himself. He punishes you just for brushing up against him, no matter how little the damage. If you crit him or put dots, less common, but you're going to be feared and miss your next turn, and the whole team can do that. He's tanky as all get out, and he gets even tankier as he loses health, gains extra crit avoidance, health steal, tenacity, and defense. And those stack to a crazy amount. When he's low on health, it seems like you should be able to kill him soon, but you really can't. And people will throw him on all kinds of teams where you don't think he'd belong, just because he shuts down a lot of teams that rely on AoEs, because they throw out an AoE, crit him, and then they're feared, and then the counter goes downhill. People used to set him with Ray. I wouldn't recommend that now. I don't think that's a good idea. That messes up the synergy with Ben Solo. But things like that have happened all over the place. Just throwing Malik in a random spot. I mean, he jibes the most well with a Sith Empire team, either under Malgus or Darth Revan. But he could just go on a normal Sith team and really mess you up. So, super valuable, versatile character in Malik. Next up, we got Wat Tambor. I talk about this guy all the time. Everyone considers him a super valuable character, but he's super versatile. He only has one faction tag, but you wouldn't know it. I'm sure some people even forget he's a Separatist because of how few times he's actually used with Separatists. Now he is a key component in a functional trench team. The tech is necessary to get that engine running, but on any character or any team, like especially a team with just a really strong component, mostly, let's bring there Kylo Ren, Sith Turtle Emperor, he provides the safety that you need. I miss the days when we could use Darth Vader, give him the weapon tech, and ignore defense. It was magical, but those days are gone. It's just a turn meter tech now and a revive prevention. But the protection, the Bactoid shield generator, which is what makes him most valuable in my eyes. Also use him in Conquest. He's helping you by getting a turn off early, so characters that start with Frenzy like Maul get to give him a jump start on that team. So the going first is also super valuable. The versatility, I mean, I already said it, like no one cares what faction he is. He's just going on the team no matter what. If you need any of those things, protection or buff dispel constantly on a character. Without that, Supreme Leader Kylo Ren is going to lose a lot of the times that I'd use him, like against Lord Vader or something. Yeah, Wat Tambor, I think everyone knows how versatile he is and valuable. Next up, we got Admiral Raddus, and some people might be surprised to see him here because he's not really flexible with which team he goes on, although sometimes he can be. But he's the fleet commander to the second best capital ship in the game. The Profundity can still be the best capital ship. It's not as reliable, but this is an amazing, groundbreaking ship. It's the Jedi Master Kenobi of fleets, shutting down all turn meter game, which is very important. Empire can't cheese it, even though it can cheese Leviathan. And even though he's just mainly on a Rogue One team that he's leading all the time, he's really flexible with what teams he can take out. If there's an Empire team, he's got their number. He's good against Tuskens, which a lot of people have problems with. Any team that's going to hit you a lot, like the fact that he's just inflicting exposes for you getting hit, is kind of crazy. And I faced a guild in TW that put him with a Leia team on defense with Jin Urso Omicron, and it was kind of tough. Like, I did beat it, I didn't lose, but it was really hard. I was worried that they were gonna bring back Leia because I couldn't kill Jin until I killed Raddus, and he's super tanky. And another versatile thing about him, it's been a long time since I made videos about TB, like guides, like late in the game. But in the planet Kessel, where you're getting confused all the time, he would solo like the wave. Like, I put him under a CLS lead just because he was one of my few R8s, and over time he would just, everyone else died and then I just put it on auto because I thought I was dead, and he killed the whole team. Another thing that makes him kind of flexible, this is a clear cleanse for all light side allies, not just Rogue One, not just Rebels. This is protection for all Rebels, so that is why 50% is not too shabby. So you can put him with a Rebel team if you're not going to use his leadership, and he's going to do just fine. Super tanky, super valuable character, and I know people probably won't work on him until they're getting Profundity, and I don't think they should, because forcing him to R9 is a big reason why he's so valuable to me. But yeah, he definitely makes the list in my opinion. And we got 4 more characters left, starting with Geonosian Brute Alpha. He was also on my unique characters video. but he's super versatile as a free tank. He's a double character, and it is not restricted by faction. So they learned from this with Mon Mothma. She's only able to summon her rebel fighter guy if the whole team is rebels, and that is directly because of how people use Geonosian Brood Alpha. They don't care if, like, end game. I mean, early game you want them with just Geonosians. That's how you want it. But end game, they don't care if it's a Geonosian team. If they need someone to survive, we see them the most with Sith Eternal Emperor. But just on a team, if you need a pre-taunting tank and someone's gonna die, like, he's great for countering, like Jedi Master Kenobi, or teams with insta-kills, because Brute eats up the insta-kill, and then you just bring him right back, because he's not real, he doesn't have a soul, he can just come back, even if it's a unpreventable revive. It's a different Brute, it's not even the same guy. So that's mainly what makes him versatile for me. He's a great character for early game, but super good tank. And we got Grand Admiral Thrawn. I don't like the facelift he got. I kind of like the cartoon version better. But he can do everything. I mean, he fits anywhere. Yes, he is Empire, but you can put him on a team that's not Empire and not notice too much of a difference. Just because Fracture is going to do what it does no matter what. Going to keep one enemy out of the game. Swap turns with anybody. You put him, another Sith Eternal Emperor stalwart. You put him there. Also Supreme Leader Kylo Ren to make sure you get some turn orders right. And then the Chimera is just a force to be reckoned with. I think this is the 5th best fleet in the game. Can beat the best fleet in the game. And just because of how much damage it gets, this is an insta-kill, which is the only insta-kill on a regular ship we have. Well, you got the Mark 6. But on a capital ship, it's the only insta-kill we have for a normal peon ship. So it's great for taking out like Houndstooth. Just a really tough tank. And yeah, I mean, his leadership too, like, it's something people sleep on, but generating tons of turn meter for resisting debuffs is something that you can manipulate a lot, especially in places like Conquest where things are getting cheesed, and Galactic Challenges, he comes into play. Super versatile all around. I love Admiral Thrawn. With just 2 characters left, we have Hondo, Thrawn's ugly cousin, because he can basically fracture someone. Captive is speed set to 0, can't bonus attack or gain bonus turn meter, so mostly a fracture. They can get turn meter and be ready for turn, but his flexibility is in his neutrality. He's the only neutral character in the game, so you don't feel like you're missing out on bonuses for one team or another because they're the wrong alignment. So you just put him, he's someone you just slot in there, and he just makes the team more annoying, especially in Grand Arena. Because he goes first. Which one is his Omicron? Yeah, so he just starts the turn with 25% turn meter. Well, I guess it's for each scoundrel or smuggler, so my bad there. But he's getting a bonus turn if he's with scoundrels or smugglers, and those are some of the most flexible teams in the game. He was with a Tarful team recently, and that was part of what cost me the match. I think I would have been just fine with my Bad Batch if he wasn't there, but he started out, put Captive on someone, and stopped from there. He's also versatile because you put him with random characters that don't seem to make sense, like Old Ben Lead, give extra evasion, and I don't know, Geonosian Brood Alpha they put him with so he can survive, and ramp up his stacks of whatever it's called, Profit. He gets 50 stacks of whatever it is, and then he is amazing. Yeah, 5 stacks of Ransom. Yeah, so when he's at 50 stacks, he is pretty scary. He's dodging everything. He's recovering his health and protection all the time from buffs, and his damage gets crazy, and he can take people, like, pretty much anybody out, including like Malgus or Gas. It's pretty scary. It's a really valuable, flexible character in Hondo. And last but certainly not least, heck, we have a list of our versatile characters without mentioning C-3PO. For one, look at the tags: Droid, Galactic Republic, Rebel Resistance. So that's 4 faction tags, and he's basically an honorary Ewok because all these bonuses, he gives it to Ewok allies too. So he can be, you can consider him 5 factions. It's just what their abilities do don't affect him. And it goes without mentioning the raid, the Endor raid. Just forgive me if I'm recording this a week ahead of time. If they nerfed C-3PO, if they nerfed him in the past week from this being released, that is why I don't know in this video. But you can use him. He's the one-man show for that raid. You can use him over and over again as long as he escapes. And he's basically ideal. I mean, he stacks evasion, which is really good. I'm starting to toy around with the raid a little bit more to understand it, but he is actually just a tank, and he's very safe for auto in that raid because he doesn't have any detrimental abilities, which is kind of confusing on its own. But just throw him on any of these 3 faction teams. He's resetting cooldowns like crazy, throwing out Confuse, acting as a daze, getting exposes on a Rebel team. People mostly just slot him in with CLS, which I think is his best use. But you can put him with Galactic Republic or Resistance. The most common place I use him with Resistance in is Territory Battle under Jedi Training Rey lead, because Rey, and a bunch of droids, and they get the Terminator train going. The resetting cooldowns is super valuable. Great for Conquest, cheesing feats where you need to use the same ability over and over again. And just stat sharing. He really is the king of versatility. He's the king of Endor, and I would say he's the god of Endor, but it's against his programming to impersonate a deity. That's it for this one. I hope you enjoyed. Again, this video was inspired by Iden, how I keep harping on how valuable she is. Extremely versatile. What are some other versatile characters I didn't mention? I'd love to hear suggestions for possibly a follow-up, although I did take most of the strong ones, I'll admit. If you did enjoy, don't forget to like and sub if you haven't already. Thanks, guys. See ya.